Hello there. My name is Nick Veach, and I'm the author of this book, Vindicating the Opium War, the Apartheid Qing Dynasty's Tragicomic Loss to British Anti-Slavery Activists. This is a thoroughly footnoted book that overturns pretty much everything you think you know about the First Opium War. Today, I want to show you that Britain did not fight the war to facilitate the Chinese opium trade. Instead, it banned the British participation in the Chinese opium trade 1 year following the conclusion of the war. By the way, the documents I will be showing you are to be found in the Chinese repository, the collection for 1843. It's available here at www.archive.org. For example, let's take a look at this quote from a communication of Hong Kong's first British governor, Henry Pottinger. This is in early January 1843, the war having ended the previous summer. Reading from the document. This is page 40 of the Chinese repository, the edition for the year 1843. With regard to the third article of Their Excellencies' memorandum, plenipotentiary, this being Henry Pottinger, will in due time lay down in concert with the imperial commissioners the most minute and stringent rules as to the conduct of the British merchants and their servants or dependents. On no pretense will they be permitted to go into the country, i.e. they cannot go into China, or away from the seaports to trade. And every merchant will be held responsible for the orderly behavior of his servants and dependents, of whatever nation or class they may be. In other words, they have to be responsible in case fights break out in the ports between sailors and the local people. Continuing. Moreover, no British ships will be allowed to visit any other ports than those opened by the treaty. And, this is where it gets important, and should any person be detected in attempting to smuggle or trade without paying the established duties, the Chinese government officers will be at perfect liberty to seize and confiscate such goods. Again, should any person be detected in attempting to smuggle or trade without paying the established duties, the Chinese government officers will be at perfect liberty to seize and confiscate such goods. In other words, Chinese laws and regulations would be complied with by the British. Moreover, Chinese administrators can seize and confiscate such goods that are have been tried to smuggle into China, such as opium. In other words, if you read between the lines, that's what's being implied here. Again, Henry Pottinger has every intention to stamp out smuggling, including that of opium. Also, note that he wanted to work with Chinese officials to achieve a bipartisan consensus and collaboration to eliminate the opium trade. This also highlights the respect that he had for Chinese officialdom and his full willingness to work alongside them to achieve mutually desired objectives. Now, of course, you may cavil he didn't actually specifically enumerate or point out opium as being a banned substance. Well, let's take a look at the next document. Now let's take a look at a formal proclamation of the Hong Kong governor, Henry Pottinger. This dated the 1st day of August, 1843. Proclamation by Sir Henry Pottinger regarding the opium trade. It having been brought to my notice that such a step has been contemplated as sending vessels with opium on board into the ports of China to be opened by treaty to foreign trade, and demanding that the said opium shall be admitted to importation in virtue of the concluding clause of the new tariff, which provides for all articles not actually enumerated in that tariff, passing at an ad valorem duty of 5%. I think it expedient by this proclamation to point out to all whom it may concern that opium, being an article of the traffic in which is well known to be declared illegal and contraband by the laws and imperial edicts of China. Again, opium, the traffic in which is well known to be declared illegal and contraband by the laws and imperial edicts of China. Any person who may take such a step, any person engages in smuggling opium, or trafficking in opium, I should say, will do so at his own risk, and will, if a British subject, meet with no support or protection from Her Majesty's consuls or other officers. So if you get caught, you'll get no support or protection from Her Majesty's consuls or other officers, such as Navy officers. This proclamation will be translated and published in Chinese, so that no one may plead ignorance of it. God save the Queen, that being Queen Victoria. Dated at the Government House of Victoria this first day of August, 1843. Henry Pottinger. In other words, unable to secure an agreement with the Chinese government, Henry Pottinger unilaterally banned British participation in the opium trade. Surprised? You shouldn't be. Britain's diplomatic corps was drawn from well-to-do families. In other words, they were sufficiently wealthy they could afford to stick to their morals and scruples. In my research pursuant to my book, I don't recall ever coming across government officials who supported the Chinese opium trade. That is, British government officials. For that matter, Charles Elliot, who was in charge of the first half of the war effort, tried to repurpose British naval vessels as a sort of Chinese coast guard, interdicting the opium trade. The sentiment was all in this direction. So, how did I make this discovery? There were a variety of reasons, but I'll simply present one: digitization. In the early 2000s, Microsoft and Google digitized most of the books found in American libraries, so most of the relevant documents pertaining to the Opium War can be downloaded in PDF files. This enables you to do text searches. Moreover, you're under no pressure to return books to the library, so you can access them on your computer at your leisure. Myself, curious to learn more about Henry Pottinger, there was no biography of the man. I downloaded a copy of the Chinese repository and text search for information about the governor. In the process of reading about him, I stumbled upon his mid-1843 proclamation banning the opium trade. So, why did other scholars not find this proclamation? First of all, it doesn't appear in the standard works on the Opium War written a century or more ago. These are the standard reference works. Secondly, the proclamation appears 1 year after the termination of the First Opium War. Most authors, I suspect, skip the period between the two Opium Wars, and thus they never have the opportunity to stumble onto the proclamation, as I did. Anyway, there you have it. Britain banned British participation in the Opium War. Britain banned British participation in the opium trade 1 year following the First Opium War. In other words, it's a misnomer. There was no war fought for opium, i.e., there was no Opium War. In closing, thanks for watching. If you like the video, give me a like and subscribe. Have a good one.